Yo, hello. How's everyone doing out there in the universe? It's your man T History, man. Washing phalanges, wash your backside. At this hour, it should have been done already. But you know how we doing, man. Hopefully everybody's pulled up or people will start pulling up into the arena. I came out this evening, a blessed day. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful day, you know. Put that smile on a stranger's face, stay out the way, put in a little work, did something positive. I came out here this evening, y'all, to have a little sit down, a little chat with a YouTube brother of mine, big brother of mine, that has a lot of positive vibes with him, and I would like for the universe of the people on my side of the spectrum and the other side of the spectrum to get to meet my brother, known as King Street, aka Tony Street, aka Brother Knowledge at Generation X Podcast. Um, so we're just gonna wait for the brother. I just dropped the link. I'll wait for the brother to pull up, and we're gonna get this sit down rolling. How's everybody doing this evening? Let's make sure that everything is correct. I see 2,000 people in the building. Came early. That's great. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate that. Hmm. Couple bush babies. That's always how it works. Ain't nothing wrong with that neither. Bush babies, I hope y'all having a great evening. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Don't tell another bush baby that it's on again. What up, NBA City? Thanks for introducing yourself. Letting me know that you're here. Thank you for pulling up. You back at it. How's your evening going, brother? Getting them turkey? I know that's right. Yeah, man, I need to get some turkey. Yeah. Is this okay? I gotta make sure. Okay. So good. Hey, he's not alone, man. NBA shouldn't be the only one. We got the Kings. We got the Playboy himself there. Oh yes, sir. You can take the mic off if you do wish to.
You can hear me?
Yeah. How's it going this evening, my brother? No, I can't hear you.
Hold on, man. Let's see. Hold on, man. All right. You can hear me?
Yes.
All right. Now I can hear you. What's good?
Okay. Oh man. This thing always gonna happen. Okay. So it's there right there, but would you introduce yourself to the guests, to the people, and let me know who you are?
Street Knowledge, Tony Black from Generation X Podcast and Conversation.
That's what's up, brother. Thank you for coming out this evening, man. It's been a long time coming. We be kicking it. I wanted the people to hear from you. You know what I'm saying, and drop a gem or two on them. Could you let us know where you from originally, brother?
No, my bad, T. Go ahead. This
Uh,
damn cord keep coming out. Go ahead.
could you let the people know where you from?
Baltimore.
Okay. We usually ask people where they from to get a little background. You from Baltimore, so could you give us a visual like how was it growing up back in the days of Baltimore?
Typical in the city shit. Typical shit. You know, usual shit. I'm from born and raised East Baltimore, then Northeast Baltimore. You know what I mean? Typical shit. Typical in the city shit. You
Okay.
know what I mean? But I can't. You know what I mean? Or early childhood. Shit wasn't all that bad. There's still block parties and shit going on before crack era shit. You know what I mean? We was
Okay.
still out playing after midnight in the summertime and shit like that.
Okay. So what was your thing? What was your thing back in the day? Saying coming up summertime, like you said, what would you get to? Like what was your fun thing to do as coming up in your youth time?
I might gotta switch to the laptop. Goddamn calls keep coming through. My bad, T. Ask your question again.
Um, Basically, I was just wanted you to give a visual. I asked these questions just like if you could give us like what the what Baltimore looked like coming up as a kid. Like you said, it was typical inner city, but I like to get a visual of like what the background, like how the areas in your neighborhood was to construct, like how it looked, and like what was the activities you was doing coming up.
I mean, East Baltimore before crack era, you got mad black businesses. Shit was cool. Early '80s, you know what I mean? Played block
Hmm.
ball and shit. Built pigeon coops, shit like that. Fucking go karts and shit.
Okay.
We had a fucking ball, but this was all before
We're gonna
crack
get to
hit.
that.
The city looked different. You know what I mean? Everything was different before that shit.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I like to ask those questions, like to get that to feel, like you said, go karts. So you used to build go karts and stuff, like
Yeah, we used to build go karts and shit. You know?
slingshots and all those type of things.
Yeah,
So,
play with ninja stars and shit. Shit we wasn't supposed to have.
so should I go there? So I would say you said a key thing. So what is the identity you would say of your city? What's the identity of Baltimore?
Heron,
Damn.
fucking dope. It's fucking that's the that's what the city known for. It's fucking heroin all through the fucking city. That's what the shit known for.
Okay.
They can
So
call it Charm City all they want. That's fucking heroin city. That's fuck that shit is.
you got the right bag, you might be a charmer. Um, what about growing up like your siblings? You have any brothers, any sisters, anybody else in the household with you?
Nah. I'm the only child by my mother,
Okay.
so I wasn't raised with none of my siblings and shit.
So you keep speaking of, so we one side we got known for the ground. So you said the crack era. Could you introduce us to the crack era and then get into like any like your involvement in trials and tribulation?
That's kind of when things changed in the neighborhood and shit. Wasn't so many. A lot of people lost their businesses and shit, putting it up
Hmm.
for bail and shit like that. You know what I mean? That's part of the game. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers lost their business. The whole environment changed. Like the shit that you see now with the
Hmm.
boarded up houses and shit like that.
Right.
All those homes used to be, you know, motherfuckers' great grandparents and shit like that. That was homeowners back then, but a lot of them lost their home to the state for whatever reason. Same with the businesses. Orientals come in, take those businesses and change the whole climate of the whole area, and that's through East and West Baltimore. West Baltimore look a little better than East Baltimore. It ain't as bad as far as boarded up houses and shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Northeast the same way. They ain't got that many boarded up houses as deep east, but that shit still one of those places where you can still see the remnants of the crack era, the effects of the fucking crack era. That's what the fuck you can see all through fucking East Baltimore.
Wow. So you mentioned that people actually would have businesses and put it up for like their siblings or their family members bail and stuff like that. That's why they
Yeah, that's
lost.
how a lot of people lost their businesses and homes and some more shit.
And also, you saying that Baltimore is one of those places like we've seen um, in the wire, which I'm gonna ask you a question about that. Um, they leave those places abandoned. They never like even to present day fix them up, like make it a business, even if it's not the people that live there's business. They still just leave them wreck shot, like just looking bad, or have they to this
Nah,
day? Okay.
no, I'll tell you this: they didn't have programs for years, and a lot of cities got them. In Baltimore, they called it the Dollar House Program, right?
Hmm.
And you just got to be a Baltimore City resident for a certain amount of, I think it's like 4 years, some shit like that. It used to, it is now. You got to at least live there for 5 years before you rent it out or do no shit or do any shit like that. But that is programs and shit that we didn't really take advantage of. Like Myman Street itself, motherfuckers pay their rent at the corner store because the same motherfuckers that own the corner store is the
Hmm.
same motherfuckers that took advantage of those dollar house programs and shit and rented those houses out, shit like that. But John Hopkins buying most of this shit up, turning them into condos and shit, so they can move the doctors in because that's the main objective, gentrification, so people with money can live in the city. Because if you got your people with money living in the city, it generate more money for the city. So they trying to move the money into the city and move motherfuckers that don't have money out of the city into the rural areas and into the suburbs and shit. That's just what gentrification is in the first fucking place.
Okay. So when do you see that it ever did the crack era or the crack coming into your neighborhood kind of had its effect on the street on Tony Black?
Well, for me, I can't say personally it had any effect on me personally. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It had more of effect on the surrounding shit changes. Along with that and Reaganomics taking away fucking school programs and fucking recreational centers and shit like that. That shit had an effect on everybody that would be around it. You know what I mean? So, and you add crack to that, the days of where you had maybe two or three people that was running shit, crack
Hmm.
being cheaper, you gave birth to way more drug dealers being outside, way more motherfuckers outside than before crack came around. You know what I mean? Shit was a little more, game was harder to get into before crack. I'll
Hmm.
say that. That's the best way that I can explain it. In Baltimore City anyway. I can't speak for nowhere else. Only what I know and where I'm from, shit was just a little different. You had a couple of few, you would have to go through a lot. Crack come, you got $50, you on. You know what I mean? Shit was just different. So in that regard, without having a lot of those programs and shit like that, and most of us being latchkey kids at that fucking time, motherfuckers outside.
So like I said, so at any point, like how was your junior high to high school years?
Shit. What none.
Damn.
It wasn't none. You know what I mean? But honestly, I went from the seventh to the ninth. I never went to the eighth grade. I went from the seventh to the ninth grade. Um, Probably spent 6 months in that school. Got kicked out of Francis Inwood. Locked up for possession of a handgun and fighting and shit like that. Got admitted back into public schools. Went to Lake Clifton, got put out of that shit. Went to Hartford Institute, got put out of that shit. And then that was it. That was it. It was a wrap after that.
Could I ask you, is there any particular reason why you had a firearm?
Because that is just part of the lifestyle. It's part of your clothes. You put on your pants, put on your shoes, put on your shirt,
Damn,
you put on
part
your
of the
gun.
outfit.
That was
Good on
part
your
of what the
gun.
fuck you did. It's just part of what the fuck you did.
Or
I went to high school in the area that wasn't my area. I went to high school in West Baltimore.
okay. That's what I was saying. Without you, the kids say allegedly or whatever. I don't want to put you in any mess, any stick. That's why I said about the trials and tribulations. Like so, I mean, so you, at some point you was active and you was a part of the street activity, or you're saying it mainly just it was just in your best interest to be protecting yourself just on the fact that you're one from that part of town.
It was typically, I'll say this, and anybody from where I'm from would say the same shit. If you was in, if you was outside during that time, then that's how you move. You ain't go nobody else's shit without making sure you was protecting yourself. You didn't go out your
Hmm.
house without making sure you protected yourself. If you was outside like that during that time, that's just the way shit was.
Hmm.
And I don't think Baltimore the only place like that. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure for you, same shit.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, so I mean, like you said, so what around what time would you consider? What was you in a situation where you felt like you had to come off the porch if you was hustling or doing any activity, or or was it just it was there for you to do type of thing?
But I think I'll say this to get a non-political answer. I think a lot of times you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Everybody in the family, that's what they was in outside. My mother and my grandmother. Everybody else was outside. So you tend to think that that's the way. You know what I mean? And I was working and shit. I started working when I was 13 and a half, and I was still outside, which is the dumbest shit ever. But I was still out there when I really didn't have to be. You know what I mean? I had a fucking job. Worked at a fucking nursing home until I was
So
like
yeah,
18.
that's why I was basically asking. Was it because you seen the money, or just seen it was like it was there for you? Like maybe it was your turn and it was right there for you to be like, hey, shit, he's making money and it's cool also because saying the cool factor when it's your turn. The reason why I say it's on your turn because I think you said it. I come from the era where you didn't just be able to sell drugs, and it's a part of a time when it could be like your turn, and then you take advantage of it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, nah, it just felt like it was a family thing. And plus, I looked up to my uncle. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be
Hmm.
like that guy. Even though I
Right.
never really
Okay.
got a chance to meet him, but I wanted to be like that guy.
So, like I said, did it did so far as you being outside? Did it bring you any? That's why, except for the trials and tribulation part, did it bring you any lockup, any running with the law, any situations, any everybody got some story. I mean, this is yours, but that you would want to talk on. Did it like give you any type of bodies in the trunk, any type of crazy
No,
situations?
I caught a big boy charge as soon as I turned 18.
Okay.
Attempt murder and drug
Yeah, big,
trafficking shit.
yeah, those are big boy charges.
Yeah, like 2 months after I turned 18, they came and got me. I
Did
was
you
under investigation for like, they jumped the gun on the investigation. I think I was under investigation for like 6 months before they actually came. But they came because of the attempt murder shit. So they figured they got that plus that. You know what I mean?
hmm
Which was
so
all bullshit. I had 250 names on my indictment papers. Fuck shit. Bullshit.
wow. So did you do any like any like real time behind this, or how did that situation work itself out?
There's some setting time. I did, the typical shit, but they ain't had shit. Me being young, took a plea, 5 on 5, 5 years suspended, 5 years probation. I pled the carrying and wearing a handgun in the state of Maryland.
He stayed dead, man. He was wearing the hand. All
Yeah,
right.
they anybody ever been charged with anything before, under 10 murder, they got a lot of other bullshit underneath of it. Assault, the basis of carrying the firearm. I pled to the least of those, which would be wearing and carrying the firearm in the state of Maryland.
Oh, so it is really called. It's not you being slang. You're not being.
No,
You're
that's
not
what
really
this shit
slanging.
called.
It's really called wearing a firearm in
Yeah, that's
Baltimore,
what
Maryland.
that's what the charge is called.
Okay, wow. So you say so you pled out. You didn't really sit or anything. I would say
No, I said
so.
I said for a year and a half.
Oh yeah, so you did do a bullet. So while you did the bullet, did you learn anything from that? Gain anything, or did it even turn you in, like persuade you to go harder or anything? What did you get from doing that bullet?
Not a motherfucking thing. When you behind that, you say all the right shit. I'm gonna do
Mm.
this when I come home. I'm gonna do that when I come home. The day I came home, I was doing the same shit. That's just the way shit go. I was doing the same shit. You know what I mean? All that shit go out the window as soon as you come the fuck home.
um, at the time, like between these times of being in the streets or whatever, um, did you ever play ball? Did you like the
Nah,
other average
uh-uh,
cat? No
uh-uh.
ball. You
Nah, no,
playing?
no sports. The only thing I did was work and be outside and
You
fuck
didn't
with
get.
rap and shit.
You got
I
something about to
ain't play
say?
no
Did you
sport.
attempt to be a rapper like everybody else? You had a group, made beats, anything
Yeah,
with
I had a
music?
little group when I was young. We had a little dumbass record deal and some more shit.
Okay. What was your back at that time? What was your influences with music? What type of influences did music have on you, if any?
Oh, hip hop. I fucking love fucking hip hop. That's my shit. I love music in general, but
Okay.
hip hop is my love. But influence wise, the reason why I even wanted to even pick up a pen and a pad and even start rapping was actually, I don't even think I ever even said this, was because of I think it's the third verse in I'm Bad. I think it's the third verse. It's like five fucking verses in that song. But
Hmm.
I think it's the second and third verse. Never wearing no Levi's, bad on me, why try? I treat you like a stepchild, so tell mommy bye bye. That shit made me want to rap.
He was coming hard. Oh, it was coming hard to you, huh?
Yeah, that shit made me want to rap. That fucking verse is still one of his best, probably ever, my opinion anyway. But then after that, shit changed, and then come along the Karis ones, the Rakim, shit like that. But
Was you able to? Was it a place out there that y'all went to, like a dance hall, a skating ring? Did the boy did y'all the b boys that y'all went to? Say hang out and kick it.
nah, it was. I ain't do none of that shit though.
That wasn't your style. What about
Nah,
going?
I ain't do none of that shit.
You had a little paper. How about going to one a show or something? Did you go to any of the shows of the
A lot of
bro?
shows, lot of shows, lot of shows, lot of shows. The show with when Wu came to Baltimore, I went to that one. When Big and it was Big, Ice Cube, Red, and Meth. I want to say they opened, but technically they ain't open because a local group open, right? They typically do that in places like a local group of open while everybody coming in. But it was that show, and actually Ice Cube was the headliner.
Okay. How did that show go down?
The show was cool. That show was alright. That show was alright. What no bullshit after. It was cool.
I
And
see a
that was
front.
hard during that time. It was always bullshit after.
Okay. Could you? I never asked this before the or got this from anybody. I see my homegirl Rain in the building. Did you let us brothers across the map know what's a typical Baltimore girl like? What do you have to do to get you a Baltimore girl?
Shit, it depends. It depends on whether she from East Baltimore, West Baltimore. Like in the
East.
same city, you got two different types of motherfuckers.
What you
Talk
think?
different, all that shit. It depends. You know what I mean? If it's an East Baltimore chick, then I don't know. That shit hard to say. That shit hard to say. T. I can't even lie. Cause that shit is about the.
It
You know,
varies. It's
yeah,
vague.
that shit
It's a vague
varies
question.
with any female. I don't give a fuck where you from. It varies. It got a lot to do with her upbringing, what type of shit she on. You know what I mean? And what what somebody like when they're younger, they might not like fucking 5, 6 years from that point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They might
I
think a
would.
nigga getting money cool when they young, might not think that shit cool
Yeah.
when they get
Cause that's
22, 25.
because I was gonna ask this. Like the major cities. Like were they the type that like did was y'all influenced by like a lot of New York, like New York cats was coming out there? Was they like the type that see the New York dudes and be sweating them?
Nah. I mean, again,
Okay.
that shit is depends on the female. Like I got money with New York niggas, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of motherfuckers from Baltimore ain't fuck with motherfuckers from out of town. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't they was there for maybe a good 2.5, 3 years, and they
Mm-hmm.
was the fuck out of there. You know what I
Right.
mean? But during that time, if you was getting money, if you was getting money, you was getting the typical type of female at that point in time. Typical shit. They wasn't about nothing. You wasn't about nothing. You know exactly what that was about. It was about what they thought they could get out of the situation. So I don't even think it was about shit. Whether it be me, them, or anybody else, it ain't really about you. It's what they believe you can provide.
Mm-hmm. Um, one of the dope a cult classic, The Wire. Does it did it do a good job of depicting your city?
Somewhat, somewhat. In many ways, they told a lot of secrets that shit the police didn't even know. Like hiding the guns on the passenger side of the car, on the tire, on the block, just in case somebody coming down shooting, you can bust back from that side. Police ain't even know that shit, but they had that
Mm,
shit in the TV show.
wow.
Hiding valves and shit in the tongue of your motherfucking tennis shoe or the lining of your hat. You know what I mean? Under the tongue shit, that's typical. That's universal shit. But
So
the
was they
inside your
live
tongue of
snitching?
huh?
Was they live snitching or was late?
Well, I
Well,
mean,
you said they didn't know, so it could have been
the police
it could have
didn't
been
know at the
pivotal.
time, but you got to look at who helped write the show. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Some motherfuckers that was locked up, uh, a motherfucker that worked for the Sun newspaper, and a police officer. So with all that shit together, you know, motherfuckers knew certain shit. That was the shit that made me look at it like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like y'all saying shit that they
Yeah, it
ain't
might be a
even
little
know.
bit. Yeah, exactly. That's all I was saying. What you is it what you already answered before? What would you briefly say the differences of East Baltimore '80s compared to East Baltimore '90s?
Shit. 80s out of the kids. I was just say, you know, the effects of the crack era would be the difference. You know what I mean? Outside was different. You know what I mean? You was outside. Like we'd be outside after midnight playing, the girls jumping rope and shit. Motherfuckers playing jacks. Mom and pops and shit playing cards and shit. You know what I mean? That shit was going on. well past midnight in the summertime.
Right.
Motherfuckers out till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Shut the block down, block party. Motherfuckers playing music, all that shit. That shit stopped. Wasn't none of that
Right.
shit in the 90s. Very
Oh,
rare somebody had a block party in the 90s. Very rare.
and that was because due to violence or just because you just unexplainable or
No,
just
due
mixtures of
due to
things.
violence, the more motherfuckers you got, the more motherfuckers you got outside, the more shit you gonna have. And that's what crack brought. Crack brought way more drug dealers. So it's way more motherfuckers outside. Back when it was a couple, now you got 20, 25, 30 motherfuckers outside. And everybody jockeying for position, you know what I mean? These couple of motherfuckers working for this motherfucker, these motherfuckers working for this motherfucker, that motherfucker working for this motherfucker. This nigga trying to work for itself ain't gonna happen. You gonna have some shit happen.
Right. And how could you give me the scenery of that? Like how every city kind of sells dope different. I mean, we watched The Wire, of course, again, but also how do they sell? How do they hustle down there? Is it state trap houses? Do dudes bid on blocks? Or again, like The Wire is like, are they really that organized, or they kind of forced it with that way? It's like every man for themselves, or how
Nah, it depends. The one thing that has to be sold in an organized fashion is heroin in Baltimore City. But um, on certain blocks and on a lot of blocks, back then crack was sold similar. The difference is you might have say Huffman and Holbrook, where that whole block is just a heroin strip. They have a house where they're hitting a hole. Somebody take the money, somebody hit. They keep the line moving. On a block, typically where you selling crack, almost a similar principle, where somebody taking money, somebody else hitting. It's just everybody just outside. It ain't nobody in the house, hung up in the house or some shit like that. You had some places like that where a motherfucker would have like old Castle Street used to have the big clears and shit. You go up and knock on the door, they throw the tennis ball down, you put the money in the tennis ball, throw the tennis ball up. They put the weed in the tennis ball, throw the tennis ball back down. You throw the tennis ball back up to them. So everywhere was a little bit different. You know what I mean? So in a sense, organized wise, and I can't speak for anywhere else, but over east, that's how mostly in northeast, that's how mostly certain blocks was ran. But everywhere was different though. You know what I mean?
right. Far as hammers, what about the slammy whammy? How the hammers be sold the same way or differently, or is it you could just take your chances of really straight up buying a hammer out of Walmart or something,
Nah, you brought
which
them
would be
motherfuckers
crazy.
off the street. Brought them off the street like a motherfucker. Which was easier back then. And prices was cheap as a motherfucker. You get a motherfucking snub nose 32 for like $50 and shit.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
what is
Motherfuckers
that?
was always selling guns. You know what I mean? That shit was way easier than it should have been.
Yeah,
I'll say that shit. Way easier than it should have been.
that's
Especially back
crazy.
then. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. Need a blicky, you gonna get a blick.
Would that do you think that that would intimidate certain situations? Like, well, you said you didn't do too much clubbing and partying, but
Nah,
don't you think that that would kind of influence those people who did, to knowing that you could get the blick for $25, like because that would make it
it's 50,
seem
not
like.
25, 50.
Well, yeah, I
I
don't
wish
know
it
why I
was
was on
25.
25, but 50. I mean, that's still same same difference in a way. But that would mean that like basically any time that you would go somewhere, is you can bet that every click then at least had a pistol on them because at that rate,
I mean that's a given though. You know what I
right,
mean? But you had to be somebody if you was getting in the club with that thing on, you know.
Right.
You had to be somebody.
You know, I'm talking about even house party style, and even if not even getting up in the club, you still got it within arm's reach or whatever. You know what I'm
But
saying?
during that time frame in Baltimore, like we talking mid 90s, where it was in the heat of it, wasn't a whole lot of fucking house parties and shit like that. Like that shit went
Oh,
out
okay.
in the, you know what I mean, for most of us in the late 80s, early 90s. Like that shit was did it. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers wasn't doing too much of that. And when they was, that shit always ended in some bullshit and some fucked up shit. My little man caught a fucking big boy charge fucking with one of them at a girl party and shit on some dumb shit. Got charged with attempt for the gun going off at the door. And because the door fragments hit a couple people, they
Mm-hmm.
fucking charged them with everybody that the fucking door fragments hit.
Mm.
They gave him attempt murder for everybody that said the door fragments hit him. They charged them with that shit. They didn't get convicted of it. You know, there's a difference between what you can be charged. They can charge you with any fucking
Mm.
thing.
Exactly.
Why would they
Well, I'm
can
about to
convict
say
you
that
of
nigga still making soups. Yeah.
that shit was fucked up. That shit was fucked up.
What I was gonna ask you, did damn, I was gonna stay with the violence. So what about a person that was like, what about your safety? The common person, a civilian. What about your safety, as far as if you're just somebody that like kind of is just outside, but you're not really into it like that? Are you some? Do you still have to worry about your safety on that level, or even still want to wear the pistol? If you're just like the common guy that just come outside, you might have a little bit of weed here and there, but you're not really into too much more than that. Are you still worried about your safety?
I think anybody should be this, and anybody in the environment would be. But I don't even think that that's something that you think about. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right.
you
No, I'm saying. Well,
automatically
I mean, I
in
know. No,
anybody
not.
in the environment, whether you
Yeah, I'm not
outside or
talking
not,
about.
whether you
Yeah,
participate or
I'm
not,
not asking
you
you
in
why you're
survival
living it.
mode. You're
I'm talking.
thinking survival.
I'm asking you. I know what you're saying, bro. I'm asking you from you. I'm talking about in hindsight. I ain't talking about as you lived it. I'm asking you you knowing what happened. I'm asking you.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what my response is. My response ain't in living it. It's just in hindsight. You're thinking, living,
Yeah,
breathing, survival, whether you outside or not. You still living somewhere in a war zone. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna you not thinking, well, I need to do this, I need to do that. You gonna if you not outside, then ain't nobody gonna go out their way to start shit with you, but you know to watch your surroundings, take care of yourself, look out for yourself
right,
type shit.
right, right, right,
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
No, no, I mean, because like I said, I asked you, because you know how, like, again, just like Chirac right now, certain people, if you just tell somebody, yeah, I'm going to old block, like certain places, people will give off how you say it, will give off the impression that you just get killed or you just get shot just for fucking breathing, you know what I'm saying? And like, even in worse areas, that's not really the case. But some people will say that. And in some areas, it might really be like that. So that's why I'm asking that.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I
you
feel
know what
what
I'm
you're
saying? That's why
saying,
I'm
but
asking.
you know, I think what they when they say shit like that because that shit can happen. You know, motherfuckers that a bullet ain't got no name on it.
Mm-mm.
So anybody can
Yeah,
get hit.
anything.
You
Yeah,
outside,
yeah,
you outside.
exactly.
You ain't gotta be in the life for some shit to happen or some shit to go down or be at the wrong place at the wrong
Wrong
time.
time, of course.
But for those people that's not, ain't nobody gonna target them. Not especially during that time. Civilians got treated as such. They fucking civilians.
Right. That's what. That's
Stay
what.
leave them the fuck alone. They gonna do
Exactly.
their job as civilians. They gonna, you know what I mean? Like leave them alone. Matter of fact, make sure they good.
Right. So again, with you, you said that you like passionate with like music from. Would you say with hip hop? Is it just hip hop that captivates the mind, or it's more genres of music that like saying that you rock with?
I love all music, but hip hop is my love. Like I fuck with the culture. I love hip hop culture, but I love all music. But hip hop is like that's my shit.
Hmm. What would you say that you started getting introduced to, or how long? Yeah, I could ask you this because you know that when did battle rap officially like start?
When did it? What you mean?
Establish yourself. Like far as of course we could say battle rap as being on the block and freestyler, but like you're a fan of well how long you been entertained by battle rap? I asked it that way.
For a long ass time. Because again, that's some shit that started in the street. You can rap, but that shit is different than what we see now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rhymes being directed towards that particular person is different than what was being called battle rap before. Wasn't really battle rap. It was just who could rhyme better.
The
It
best,
was
yeah.
a fucking rap contest, is what it
Yeah.
was. You know what I mean? It wasn't really battle rap per se, but that's what they called it back then. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That's what it was. It was battling.
Yeah,
Um,
it was battle, yeah.
yeah, but that
It
we
was
know
rap
that that's
battle, but not on it, not on what we call today's battle rap now.
yeah, it's two different things,
Just
two
like the
different spectrums.
freestyle, they didn't find a way to freestyle and fluctuated to something else the same way.
Yeah, but even with that, like motherfuckers got that fucked up. A freestyle and off the top of the head is two different things. A
Yeah.
freestyle is a written rhyme without construct, without a hook or anything like that. Is just
Mm.
to present skill. For some reason, people think a freestyle
It's all
is
the
off the top of the head. Off the top of the head is off the top of the head. That's why it has a name. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened over the years to combine the two, or why people started adequating them both together, but they not the same.
So, so the like I said, like what they talk about, far as a UL, a daylight and stuff like that. How do you feel about that genre of music? Like, how do you like what? How do you feel about that? And would you be a judge? Would you consider yourself? Would you be a judge of like if you had the opportunity? Would you judge a few battles like a real official one?
No, uh, I
Hmm.
don't. I don't think battle rap should be judged. Because it's about
Oh, you said
preference.
you don't
Unless
think that it should be judged
no,
at all.
it should never be judged unless it's some type of money on the line and you got a criteria. Because other than that, it's no different than music. It comes down to preference.
Oh, you saying by technicality? I mean, just on the right. So how when these dudes battle, how who did get determined to be a winner then?
That it typically how battle rap has always been, unless it's a tournament with money on the line or some shit. And outside of Fight Club and that bullshit they used to do on 106 and Park, where motherfuckers judge. But in current day, in URL, King of the Dot, RBE, nobody's fucking judging shit. Nobody's judging. Two motherfuckers battle, we
So
debate
y'all
and argue about who we believe won. And that leaves at that. Even back in the DVD days, it wasn't no winner declared at the end of those DVDs. Fans talked about that because that's
fans
part
just
of
said,
the
okay,
culture. That's part of the shit.
I
When you
never knew
add
that.
the
So basic.
judges and all that shit, that's where the bullshit comes in at because it still comes down to preference.
So in a way, technically, nobody, much as the battles that I've seen, the battles that y'all watch and y'all talk about, technically, nobody has really like. Uh, Cassidy could really still say he's undefeated technically. So like really the only time somebody loses is like the three O's or like you just you get mollywopped out there. Like come on, that won't even
I
close.
mean, you
It's like
choke.
the
I
only
mean,
time.
it's obvious when somebody loses. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying, it's not judged. It's not an official winner or loser declared.
Okay,
The audience, the viewers decide. You
okay,
know what I mean? And you might have a fan base that'll believe that they guy ain't never lost. No
okay.
matter what happened, they have an excuse of why they guy didn't lose. But that's the joy of the culture. It's like fucking football or basketball, like any fucking sport. You know what I mean? That a lot of that
But
shit
that,
is people liking a particular person. They don't give a fuck
that
what they
I was
do.
gonna ask
I
this
like
too.
this
Rain
guy.
says. Mm-hmm. Rain said that it changes. So why every 5 years or so? Why does the battle rap change?
Why does it change? Everything evolves, right? So it'll be stagnant if it didn't. It changes because the guys, each group that comes in, because a lot of these guys, the difference between now and maybe years ago, a lot of people was in battle rap because they was rappers. That was a way to get recognized into the industry, right? Now battle rap is a industry. So a lot of guys could give two fucks about being an industry rapper. They just want to make a couple of dollars battling. They might can't make a song and rap a song, but they can get up there because they learned how to rap through battle rap.
Right.
So you'll have guys come in and elevate a style that already exists, right? Like you got, it's always been punchliners around, conceded those guys, but that been taken to another level with Rum Nitty and Av. They had exceeded at that. You know what I mean? And in
Mhm.
5 years from now, there's gonna be some motherfuckers that take what they do and move that shit up. But the one thing that's always going to be for certain is the motherfuckers that talk, that shit will always last. That shit don't age. Punchlines and shit, that shit don't age well. Those styles go out of style. But when you talk that shit hardly ever go out of style. You know what I'm saying? So,
So
but
I
that
could.
shit changed because of those reasons. Because each batch of new guys that come in, they bring their own flavor in. Shit got to evolve. Shit moves and is moving a little bit faster now than before. You look at the last 15 years of within battle rap culture, and you could say early 2000s when everybody had their hand in it, when you had Fight Club and you had 106 in Park Freestyle Friday and you had MTV with their little battle shit that they had going on over there. People still love what was going on in the DVDs because that shit was just a watered down version of the shit. But everybody wanted to get their hands on what was popular in the street. They wanted to try to make a little bit of money off of it. They haven't been able to capitalize on it the right way, network wise, because you would have to strip it down in order to present it to a bigger audience on network TV. That should have never worked that way. That'll kill the culture.
So it is going to be a great. It's not going to be a debate, but it's going to just for y'all three that's in here that rocks with it. It's more than three y'all. But anyway, can you give me the route much more of battle rap?
Battle rap so young, like
Just can't do
honestly,
it.
is only you have to go with the typical. If you want to say Mount Rushmore, then you have to say the people who contribute to the culture. You have to say Lux and Mook and fucking Arsenal and motherfuckers like that. You would have to say that because they was at the beginning of the shit. But it's so young, is so much more building to do that kind of talk, even though people talk that way, I still think the culture is still too
Premature.
young to be having Mount Rushmore conversations when these guys still got work to do. You know what I mean? But that's who would have to be on there is guys that stood the test of time, that was around at the beginning, that been through every era, that was outside before it was cameras around, then was around when cameras was around, the DVD shit, on into now this YouTube shit and somewhat caffeine. But the guys that been around through all those different phases, you would have to put them up there. And you kind of would have to, at this point, put the league owners up there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
without the shit, without Smack and URL and even Lux and the Lions, then you probably don't have battle rap as we know it right now. You know what I'm saying? You probably don't even have this shit that we have right now without that shit. The acapella version of battle rap that we have now. Because before then, motherfuckers was still battling over beats and shit.
Right.
Like the
What
rap
about that
Olympics
part?
and shit.
That's another key thing. How about that? Do you think that would trash it, or do you think that it could be another league of battle rap, or some type of people rapping over beats?
It's already a league like that in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already a league like that in Philly.
Are you into that?
It's cool. It's cool. I think that it, it's two different ways of looking at it. Like with battle rap, you don't have nothing to hide behind. You don't have no beat for somebody to just be listening to the beat. You can't just hide behind the beat. You
Mm.
have to get up there with the original material you wrote, and present that shit to an audience that never heard that shit before and get their immediate feedback. That is something different to me than just rapping over a beat, because you can hide behind a fucking beat. It ain't shit for you to hide behind when it ain't no goddamn beat.
Okay.
They gonna let you know when you say some bullshit. It's gonna how you gonna recover from that shit. Like it to me, that it's all that shit is a part. Now that league adds a different element and it's cool. I like this shit for the people that go there and structure their rounds around a beat that still present they shit in battle rap form on the beat. I like that shit. It's cool and it's a good mix up. It's a good to have that shit exist within that because there's so many leagues now that operate off the acapella shit. It's good that somebody came in with the idea of saying let's bring that shit back to the essence and add the beat back to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the way that they do it over there is really creative. I think one person picks a beat, the other person picks a beat, and I think the league picks a beat or something like that. I think that's right, Rain. I think so, right? I think that's what it. I think that's how they do it over there. I probably only seen like a few of these shits. You know what I mean? So I ain't no expert, but I check they shit out. It's not bad. It's cool. You know what I mean? The more if they can get um more people to participate and start developing their own guys and pick up some steam. But for the amount of time they've been around, they've been cool. You know what I mean?
Um, do you think you could tell me a regular artist that you think that could switch over to be a battle rapper and do good, and vice versa? A regular known artist to beats that could pick up battle rap and do good.
I don't. I I think
Too low.
any of them. I think any of them can do it. Like the typical guys that can rap. If you can rap, you can rap. They would just have to learn how to structure their bars, how to anticipate crowd response and all that shit. Get used to crowd response because it's not. Unfortunately, when it's a crowd involved, it's not a steady flow. You know what I mean? And when you write and you write to a beat, you used to rap into a steady, consistent flow. And it's not saying some guys don't do that now, even in the acapella shit, because they do. Your daylights, your loaded luxes, your B dots, they do that shit, which also is a hindrance as soon as there's some type of reaction and shit. But it can be done. So I think like, maybe Jada, maybe Jay. maybe even M, but I still think that they would have to have a few battles before they even remotely get it. Because they ain't like they can't rap. They would just have to learn how to structure their shit. Now, within battle rap, over to the other side, you already got battle rappers that's charting. And when it comes to music, Sue Surf,
Mm-hmm.
both of his last mixtapes charted on 3 or 4 different streaming services and shit. You know what I mean? Surf make good music. Um, Lux music ain't bad. It ain't that many that make good music, but if you want to talk about who does, Surf already do that shit. Cause his battle rap shit is nothing like his music. He's not trying to be the same person he is in battle rap on his mixtapes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's making quality music when he does make music. He got a mixtape about to come out now.
Okay.
Yeah, Us make good music too. I don't know why I always forget about Us, but Us make good music too. I don't know why Us ain't had nothing that charted yet. That's kind of confusing with so many
Is that
industry
Arsenal or
friends he got.
that's short
Yeah,
for
Arsenal.
Arsenal or that's something? Okay.
Yeah, it's Arsenal. He
Alright,
got
cool.
he got so many industry connects. You would think he probably would have been, but you know, I think that's still and with the weird thing with Surf is majority of the motherfuckers that fuck with his music, half of them don't even really fuck with him as a battle rapper. Like they don't give a fuck about the battle rap shit. They fans of his music. The
Mm-hmm.
fucked up thing is the battle rap culture can do a better job at supporting these guys. In just period. Whether it be battle rap in general, whether it be getting a pay-per-view or getting a fucking app or getting a music, because the culture way bigger than it was before, but that shit don't show in pay-per-view buy rates and shit like that. That shit don't show. You know what I'm saying? It just don't, because motherfuckers go watch that shit for free, and which, that is what it is. Shit. I done it a few times my motherfucking self. But
Yeah.
if they got that same support, Hitman can do easy 4 or 5 million views on a fucking battle. If he can do that for his music, he be out of here. But those same battle rap fans that love him as a battle rapper ain't checking for his music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfuckers could do a better job at that shit when it comes to all of them, because a lot of them make fucking music, if not 85% of them.
Okay. This is something I left out on the be more the personal. Can you give me a few a couple of do's and don'ts in the DMV from Baltimore to the part of the DMV that you would consider being a part of?
And don't just look like you belong there. Like, don't, else you gonna look like food. Like, don't cross the street. You see a bunch of niggas in your way, you walk through. You don't cross the street. You fool, you cross the street. Just look like you belong there. You don't look like you belong there, you fool. And that's just a fact. Motherfucker gonna take advantage of you. They fucking got what's the comedian nigga name? God damn it, what the fuck is his name? Not fucking not the I was about to say Ashley Larry, but not Ashley Larry, because his ass always in Baltimore. Motherfuckers know him. The motherfucker that had that song with Snoop, they got the shit out of him. Told him some fucking blueberry is purple and shit like that. He talked about that shit on his fucking podcast. Nigga, because you look like food. Motherfuckers will get you. So one thing about up there, motherfuckers, and I think that's universal anywhere. Motherfuckers gonna take advantage of you if they know you not the fuck from there. It look like you don't belong there.
Right.
Just
Um, all right. So we that's what's up. Rain, you agree? All right. So now we're gonna go with the questions, bro. The either or. Let's see where you go with this. You ready to do the questions, my brother?
Yeah, go ahead. You go.
So we're gonna go with first off, we're gonna go beats or lyrics.
Repeat that again.
It's either or, beats or lyrics.
Lyrics.
Build or destroy.
Build.
Boot camp, kill army.
Boot camp.
Dance hall or pure reggae.
Reggae. Pure
City or
reggae.
city or country.
City. No, no, no. At this stage in my life, royal living or suburban living. I can't say country shit. I ain't never lived in the country. But if by country you mean royal, royal.
Slim or thick.
Thick.
Fight or shoot.
Fight.
Me or us.
Us.
Money or power.
Shit. One is derivative of the other. One equals the other. So can't have one without the other. Power.
CD or vinyl.
Vinyl.
Nike or Adidas.
Nike.
Looks or substance.
Say again.
Looks or substance.
Substance. Looks
Uh,
nice, you know. It's gotta look good. Like,
gotta
fuck.
look good.
Gotta at least be
Definitely can
cute.
look good and be done.
Yeah, gotta at least be
Alright.
cute a little bit. Something.
Boobies or fatty.
Damn, bitch can have both.
Dolly Parton or
Fatty.
Cherokee. Okay. Blunts or wraps.
Raps. The paper, that blunt paper ain't good for
40 cal or 9 millimeter gold ink.
you. Oh, why it had to be those two? I would, me myself personally, depending on what it is, I would rather have a revolver. But I'll
I'm
take the
supposed to.
40. I'll take the
That
40
is
cal.
the mess I'm supposed to.
Even though I would rather
Different.
have the revolver,
But no,
depending
I
on
was.
what you're using it for.
Mm-hmm. Um, documentary or movie.
That's a good one right there. That's probably the best one. That's a hard one. Cause I fucking love documentaries, but I love fucking
Like movies
movies.
too, really more
Yeah, I
rough.
love movies, especially with good dialogue and good writing and shit like that. Cause that hard I'm a writer. Movies.
BK or McDonald's.
Me- like both of them for different reasons. Even though that shit is garbage, let me
I
eat none of that shit.
know you got
Um,
those lusty tastes at some point, though. Yeah.
yeah, nah, you gotta have it. That's why that shit makes so much money. You hear me? But
Hmm.
McDonald's. Even though I prefer Burger King hamburgers.
Usually, you can say the fries. I'm gonna make you these two.
Nah,
Do
I
too.
hate fucking Burger King fries. Them shits is trash.
I feel
McDonald's
the same.
fries cool. I just don't like they fucking burgers. Them shits is trash.
Lighter thought.
Shit ain't no in between. Dog.
Paper or plastic.
Plastic.
Car or truck.
Car.
I got some bullshit. Salsa or twerk.
You and some bullshit. I take the motherfucking I take the motherfucking sauce. That shit a little that shit a little more sensual and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yummy, man. That was all on yours. Manny or Brady.
Oh shit. Um I'm gonna say Brady, but I'll say this. Um, I think
Oh, man, he was a motherfucker.
nah, he's that guy. I just think he never had an opportunity to have a great coach, like a you know what I mean. I think if he would have been able to have a coach like Bill Belichick for the amount of time that Brady had, it might be a little different for him championship wise. Cause he never had a good defense or no shit like that. You know what I mean? But Brady, there's no denying what that guy is for our generation. It's no denying.
Just our generation, but I got you.
Yeah,
Um,
but you know what I'm saying. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we, you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, we
We done
still live
seen
in
other
something.
motherfuckers, but we might not been able to, you know what I mean, truly appreciate the other motherfuckers. For him, we done seen this shit for a long time. Since
Right,
what, '01? And it's
right.
2019. It's 20, I said
20, 20,
2019. It's
2021.
2021.
Niggas still out there, still trying to.
Yeah, he's still outside and still winning a motherfucking Super Bowl. And I thought this shit was over for this nigga. He won't go nowhere.
Nigga
Somebody
go
please
where?
get your mans.
Like, nigga, what's up with fucking taking your ball and going home? Giselle? Uh,
Somebody get this nigga.
LL Cool J or Cool Mo D?
Hello, Kuja.
Man. Forrest Whitaker, Denzel Washington.
I'm not a big Denzel fan, but I don't fuck with the other guy because of that goddamn movie, the Crying Game shit. But man, Denzel Washington, even though I don't think dude that good of an actor, I know motherfuckers never agree with me on that. I just think the motherfucker just play himself.
So then the answer is Forrest. But
No,
go ahead.
I don't fuck with yo. I don't fuck with neither one of them. You you give me the option. I gotta choose the one that I can tolerate more than the other one.
Dreads or Caesar?
Dreads.
Own or lease?
Who?
Own or lease?
Depends, but I would say lease. I'll at a later date I explain why I put lease.
No, I know.
Depending on where you at and what stage of your life, that would be the way to go.
Football or basketball?
Football.
Lux, Metamoot.
Lux. All day. Every day. Fuck Mook.
I
Lux.
already know. This is a good one, but I already know what you're gonna say. Sue Surf, DNA.
Surf. Fuck. Motherfucking
Yeah.
surf. DNA weird ass.
Yeah.
Dude nice though. I don't want to make it like he can't rap. The motherfucking rap. Just not my cup of tea. I can't fuck with short.
Um, I'm gonna tell you something later about that. Dude. Liquor and beer. Liquor or beer.
I don't drink, but I wouldn't drink beer. Back when I used to drink, I
Hard
drunk.
liquor.
Yeah, I don't fuck with beer. Just
Respect or fear.
respect. Is fit better than fit any day. A scared nigga will kill you.
Um, Teresa Randall, Robin Givens.
Hmm. Like I said, I'm just gonna go with my. I'll say Robin Givens. Give me shorty. Even
Holly
though she a
Berry's,
fucking snake.
Holly Berry's or Vivica A. Fox.
What Vivica though? What Vivica? We gotta specify what Vivica. Is we talking about
I
set it
take,
off
I
Vivica
take,
or today
I take,
Vivica?
I take booty call Vivica.
All right, that then yeah, then Vivica, cause not this motherfucker walking around now, not that one.
Nigga, the
I
chick's
don't know what she
65
done
years
done.
old. She's
Well, shit,
66 again.
it. Look what she did. She still would have looked good if she ain't fuck up her face. She ain't had to do that shit to herself.
Oh yeah, I didn't pay attention to that. I figured.
Yeah,
All
she ain't
right.
had to do none of that shit to herself. She's a beautiful woman. She'd have been a beautiful old woman. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She ain't had to do all that fuck shit.
All right, we completed the either
Like that
ors,
shit
man.
about to fall off.
Um, what did you learn from the streets, man, that you could apply in regular life?
That's that's a good question. Just a lot of this shit um I apply in everyday life, but the one thing that I did learn uh, that was a detriment to me earlier in my career was the fucking aggression. That shit I had to leave behind because it's the opposite, right? Career wise, that fucking aggression keeps you stagnant. It's not going to move you forward within your career. Outside in the street shit, that aggression moves you forward. You know what I mean? That shit is part of what you do. That shit don't work in the real world. You can do what the fuck you want to do, but that shit'll just keep you stagnant like a motherfucker. So that shit, I had to learn how to maneuver that shit a little bit differently, where I can still say what the fuck I need to say without being aggressive, especially for the position that I'm in. You know what I mean? Like that shit, motherfuckers can't be the angry nigga.
Right. Um, that's when you got to bring it home for us, man. Um, what are the five elements of hip hop?
Really? This is this one
You
too
know, it's a lot
easy.
of
You gotta
people who
give me
can't do
another one.
it.
Yeah, give me another one.
It's people who can't do it though. I might
It's
struggle
not
with
this
the
bad.
fourth one. Just run it through
You,
there. It's just trust me. There's people
I
who
know
get
you know
checks,
the five elements. Don't act like you
bro.
don't
It's
know the
people
five.
with checks. It's people getting cash and checks and don't know it, bro.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And they've been trying to take the fifth one out. Like they've been saying four. Like if you Google that shit, it's gonna say four.
Wow.
Which is fucking crazy that they keep doing that when the fifth one is knowledge. It's the most important one. You know what I mean? But it's MCing, DJing, breaking graffiti. And they even try to replace knowledge with beatboxing. Beatboxing has never been one of the five elements. But a motherfucker look up Google, you'll see beatboxing
Right.
in the place of knowledge or nothing in the fifth place, which is bullshit. But
Yeah.
that's your five
So
elements.
youngsters, the babies, he just gave you all that. All right, man. How long have you been on YouTube?
It'll be three shit
I,
active on YouTube.
yeah. Like far. Well, I was gonna say, go ahead and just answer it that way. I was gonna ask like far as looking, so it could be like a three, like how long you been on it, and then consider that you wanted to mess with YouTube.
No,
Two-part question.
I've been doing this on this particular channel for it'll be 3 years next month, I believe.
All right. Um, what inspired you, or what made you decide to be a content creator?
I used to do internet radio, and that shit just because of traveling back and forth, I stopped doing that shit, and then I was doing podcasting on Anchor before Anchor was where it is now, which is
Wow.
a way better platform now than it was before. And when I was doing that shit, they was never accepting my shit, like fucking Apple Music and all that, because they had distributed your shit for you, and nobody was accepting my shit. I'm like, what the fuck is the problem? And then that's what kind of brought me to try that shit over here. And at first, I wasn't even going to do it. I was doing it on another channel. This channel started by accident. I was something happened. I spoke on a content creator, and then another content creator ended up getting me to keep doing content on this particular channel. But um, long story short, make a fat bitch skinny. Um, got into this shit because I used to do internet radio. Me and my little brother had a show similar to Everyday Struggle before Everyday Struggle.
Um, do you have any and that's gonna be back to back the same question, but do you have any YouTube goals?
Mm, like as far as what?
Like
Like as
far as the
far as the
channel, like far
channel,
as like yeah, what you want the channel? Do you want to be like a huge YouTuber?
I mean,
Do you
if
want,
this shit happen, I ain't gonna run from it. I think with anything, everything is about timing, right? Being ready for it and shit like that. I do this shit right now as a hobby. I spent money on myself because I believe in what the fuck I do. You know what I mean? So if this shit happen, it happened, and hopefully by that time I'm ready for it. Because that's a whole nother ballpark and a whole nother situation, especially when it comes to actually creating content, shit like that, and being consistent. You know what I mean? That's totally different. So goal wise, that shit is just to be for my shit to be better than it was the last time. You know what I mean? Each year to be better, each day to be better, content wise, and keep coming up with different shit and finding that space, that pocket to be in, content wise.
I say overall in general, what it means to you to being successful?
Did you say overall what it means to be successful? What did you say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What does it mean to be successful to you?
As a content creator,
Mm-hmm.
it's the content first. Content and your core audience fucking with what you do. To me, no matter how big the platform is, that's success. If your core audience fuck with what you do, no matter what the fuck you're doing, no matter how big your platform is, then you doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But if they ain't fucking with it, you probably should rethink what the fuck you doing. You know what I'm saying? But if your core fucking with what you doing, then that's all you need to cater to is those people because they was there. Those are the people that showed that stuck around no matter what. That's always been there. That show up. Just check for what you're doing. Those are the people that let you know what you're doing, not the motherfuckers that come around or you pick up here and there. You gonna along the way, if you pick up people that fuck with it, fine. But catering to that core, you should always cater to that core audience because those are the motherfuckers that got you to the dance in the first place.
I would say a couple of last but not least. What do you think? Um, differentiates or what differs you from any other content creator? You would say.
I don't- it's a lot of us. I would say for me, I wouldn't even say different. I would say what um for what I do that's different than other channels. It's not conventional what I do on my channel as far as they tell you what you're supposed to do is pick something for your channel to be about, and then that's what you do. That's not what my channel is. I treat my channel similar to a television channel. Television channel will have different shows. That's what I do. So in that aspect, that's the thing that separates me probably from any other content creator is I do what I do just a little bit differently on this platform. Is that other than some with my little bit of experience, but it's a couple of us around here, big and small, that got a radio background.
Hmm. Do you think that your radio background does help you up here?
Uh, Yeah and no. I would say in the beginning of doing live content, um, a lot of people worry about how many people is watching them or how many people in they chat and shit like that. Doing radio, you don't know how many motherfuckers doing internet radio. I might add, you don't know how many motherfuckers watching you. You don't get your numbers until the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? So you
Mm,
don't know who the fuck you talking to. Motherfucker might send an email or some shit like that, but the last thing you thinking about or you watching is the chat or any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So in that regard, that's where in the beginning when I first started doing live content, because I was always doing video uploads. That's why I still do them now. Um,
mm,
in doing live content, the last thing that I really worry about is the chat. Sometimes I don't even, and it ain't me being rude. I'm just doing my content. I don't even think about even looking over at the chat until I'm at a part of the show where I'm actually talking to the chat or asking a question or some shit.
mhm. Gotcha. Well, that's basically the questions. I would just say, man, it was a good time. You answered, you know what I'm saying, a lot of stuff. Let us know, like, some things about Baltimore, the city. Is there anything that I didn't ask you or anything that you would like to add to the people to let them know about yourself, along with, um, Yummy or Rain or both have already dropped your links to your channels. But you can also, if you have any other social media, let it be known. And if it's anything that you will just want to say for yourself that I didn't ask you, anything that you got on you want to let off of your chest, regardless of what it is, go ahead and say it, my brother.
No, they appreciate you. You know what I mean for the invite and wanting to do this. Salute to you. You already know what it is. And if anybody ever want to test their hip hop knowledge or whatever it may be, holla at your boy. I love Spawn. Like in finding out new shit. Shit, you might know something I don't know. I don't know. But shit, if you want to test that shit, holla at me. We can have a conversation.
All right. All right. Everybody, I thank y'all for coming, man. That was King Street, aka Tony Black, Street Knowledge. You can check them out on Generation X Podcast Radio. And as normal, as always, I appreciate y'all for coming out, pressing that like button, and enjoying the program that we have for you this evening. And y'all take care of yourselves, and I'll catch y'all on the rebound. History. Got to keep it. Got to. Got. Got to get it right, baby. We out.
Peace.
Peace.